Please get ready for a dictation of transcription number 360 and 361 from Sir Kailash Chandra magazine. 5 seconds. Start. Sir, almost all the newspapers in the country have spoken rather strongly against the reckless imposition of sales tax. But we find that the government have not paid any heed to the criticism made against the sales tax. On the contrary, the government have been issuing circular after circular calling upon the state governments to raise additional money by taxation, especially by imposing the sales tax. Now, as you know, even in the meeting of the National Development Council, which was held some time back, the state chief ministers pointed out that they were not in a position to raise more than rupees 300 crores by way of taxation, while the central government demanded that they should raise rupees 225 crores by way of additional taxation in their respective states, leaving aside the central taxes. Almost all the chief ministers objected to this proposal, and they said that their capacity as far as taxation was concerned in their states had reached the saturation point, and that it would not be possible for them at all to go beyond the limit of rupees 300 crores. We thought that these opinions of the state chief ministers would be seriously taken into account by the government, but they have not done so. And we are extremely disappointed to find in the second 5-year plan, to which I shall come later, that out of the amount of rupees 400 crores representing the uncovered gap, they want to raise rupees 300 crores by way of taxation, and I have not the slightest doubt in my mind that there will be a greater pressure on the states to impose taxes on various things. Now, as you know, the states are not in a position to impose any income tax. That is beyond their jurisdiction. They can only impose certain other types of taxes, for example, the sales tax and so on. In fact, sales tax is the real thing as far as the states are concerned. Therefore, if the central government makes more and more demands on the states to find additional finances by way of taxation, it inevitably means in the circumstances that the states will be going in more and more for imposing the sales tax. Now, the central government is likely to come into the picture for imposing sales tax. Sir, you might feel that since one party is in power, probably they will not be at cross purposes. But that is not going to be so, because the state governments are confronted with their own problems. They are nearer as far as the people are concerned. We live in this secluded chamber, away from the people, away from the masses, and well guarded and well protected by all the powers of the government. But it is difficult for the states to avoid mass demonstrations in and around the assembly house. Such things happen, and the state ministers, since they live nearer the people, are more bothered about the demands and the developments in their respective areas than the central government. And naturally, they will hesitate to impose such taxes as cause discontent among the people, and such taxes which made it difficult for the MLAs to go about in the villages or in the towns. We have seen how during the last 2 or 3 years, the state governments have not been very enthusiastic about imposing sales tax despite pressure from the central government. Not that they are at all opposed to it. They do impose taxes, but they find it difficult to do it because of very strong, healthy, and vehement opposition on the part of the public in their respective states. I understand that when government takes this power, they will take advantage of it in order to initiate sales tax on such commodities as enter interstate trade, and thus obviate the difficulty which might very legitimately stand in the way of the state governments. I would like to know something about it. I hope the honorable member has got my point. We would like to know from him whether they will impose any sales tax after they have got these powers, even when the governments and the people of the states oppose the imposition of such taxes? This is something we would like to know from the government. The central government has the prime responsibility for executing the plan. From the report of the Planning Commission, we know that apart from the expenditure which will be met by the states, the responsibility rests chiefly with the central government. All the financial powers are concentrated in the hands of the central government, and it is therefore the duty of the central government to find money not in this manner by encroaching on the powers of the states, by curtailing their powers, by imposing taxes like the sales tax, but from other sources such as income tax, corporate tax, and so on. They can impose these taxes. Sir, I move this bill with a feeling of hope and expectation, for I am confident that for the successful development of agriculture, ancillary and supplementary conditions envisaged in this bill are indispensable. Just as in the case of industry, finance and marketing are two essential conditions, so also in the case of agriculture, finance and proper marketing are equally essential conditions. You can put up the latest factory and provide the best personnel, but if there is no arrangement for finance and for marketing, that factory will not work. Sometimes I am amazed how the agriculturist, sandwiched as he has been between the various and fleecing moneylenders and the greedy and profit-minded trader, has been able to survive above to live. A lot of thinking has been given to the question of providing finance for agriculture. Some thought has also been given to the problem of marketing of agricultural produce. But I do not know of any report or of any literature in the long history of the cooperative movement which has dealt with the problem in a comprehensive and integrated manner as the Rural Credit Survey has done. One of the main defects from which the cooperative movement in India has suffered is that it has mainly concentrated itself on the credit side of the problem. It has been confined to the better class of farmers. The medium and the small farmer has been left out of the ambit of the cooperative movement. The government too has not taken the interest that was necessary for the development of this movement. The result has been that the cooperative movement today contributes an infinitesimally small part of the short-term, medium-term, and long-term credit needed by the agriculturist. I am thankful to the Rural Credit Survey, which has surveyed the problem in a very comprehensive manner and given us, as I said, an integrated scheme. The scheme envisaged by the Rural Credit Survey falls into two parts: the financial, or rather the credit side of cooperation, and the economic side of cooperation. So far as the credit side is concerned, the formulation of the scheme and its implementation has been entrusted to the Reserve Bank of India. The Reserve Bank Act laid the responsibility of developing rural credit upon that institution, and it was appropriate that that responsibility should be placed upon the Reserve Bank. Before I come to the particular subject with which this bill deals, I would like to give a background of what the Reserve Bank proposes to do, because it is only in that background that a very proper appreciation of the provisions of this bill can be done. At the base, it is proposed, or rather it has been decided, to set up what are known as large-sized cooperative societies. These large-sized cooperative societies will cover from 5 to 10 villages according to the conditions of the different regions. For these 5 or 10 villages, as I said, a large-sized cooperative society will be set up which will deal with multifarious activities concerning the farmer. Ordinarily, the share capital of a large-sized cooperative society will be rupees 20,000. The government will contribute 50% of this capital, but if the farmers of the region failed to contribute the remaining 50%, the central government will make up the shortfall. The idea is not that the government should remain permanently a partner in the share capital, but as soon as the farmers are in a position to provide adequate finance, the capital invested by the government will be retired, because I am fully conscious of the fact that the cooperative movement, in order to be successful in the true sense, must be owned and run by the farmer himself. This society will also provide commodities which the farmer needs for his productive and consumption purposes, such as seed, fertilizers, agricultural implements, kerosene, cloth, etc. It will maintain a storehouse. Hitherto, the cooperative societies used to advance capital to the farmer either on the security of land or on production of one or more sureties. The result was that only substantial farmers or those who had credit in the financial world could avail of that credit. The medium farmer and the small farmer, who in many cases had only a precarious right in land, could not benefit out of it. Sir, it is a well known fact that the medium and small farmers constitute about 75% of the total farmers in India, and any scheme which is not calculated to benefit the 75% of the mass of farmers, I submit, is a highly defective and incomplete scheme. Stop.